Next, I want to talk about the Scala set. So a set is an iterable type of collection that contains only unique elements. And there are mutable and immutable versions of a set, and the immutable set is available to you by default. So one thing I show right here in the book is if you create a set that has these duplicate elements in it, I'll paste that into the REPL, and you can see that the duplicates disappear and only the unique elements are retained in a set. And another thing I want to mention about a set is that you can't count on the elements being in any particular order unless you use a sorted set. So by default with this immutable set, let me create, let's do 1 to 10 and then make that into a set, and you'll see what I mean. So rather than the elements being stored 1 through 10, you can see that they're stored in this order inside of a hash set. So a lesson here is that the elements are going to be stored in the set in the most appropriate way for the implementation. So this is how they're sorted with a hash set. Now I'll show a set type in the same style I've been doing with our CRUD acronym, CRUD. So C standing for create. So if you want to create a set, actually I showed how to do that here earlier. So this is one way to create a set. You can also say val set equals set 1, 2, 3, 3, 3. And again, it only keeps the unique elements. Another way to create a set is if you need an empty set, you could say something like val, I'll do names, and then you declare the type here. So I'll say I want a set of string, and that's going to be equal to the set, and then call this empty method here. Then I hit enter, and then you can see names is created as a set of string, and it currently has no elements in it. Next, when it comes to reading elements, as I've shown in every other sequence so far, what I mean by read in our CRUD acronym is access. So you want to access elements. And it really, I'm hesitating here a little bit because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense in a set, and I'll show what I mean. Like, so you can say set, take 2 elements. And you might do this during testing or something like that. But my point here is when you create a set that, like this one, has the elements 1 through 10, they're not stored in the order you might expect them to be. You know, they're stored in the most efficient order for your algorithm here, or your implementation detail here. So when you say take 2 elements from a set, you're not really sure what elements you're going to get. I guess that's what I'm saying. However, you can do the usual. You can use a for expression. So you could say val, let's say result equals for element in set yield e times 2, and that'll create a new set as shown here. So that type of access makes sense. And one thing I do want to note while I'm in the neighborhood is if you do set dot and then tab, you'll see that there are actually 148 possible methods on a set. So I'll say yes there. So a set does have methods like these, like, you know, the head and the head option and the init and so on. So it does have these methods, but my point is that the values aren't ordered. So some of these methods don't always make sense. They might make sense when you're testing, but I'm not sure if they make sense during a real application. So the next part of the CRUD acronym is U for update. So I'm going to show how to update a set. And we'll start with a set of 1, 2, 3, like that, and save that in the variable A. And update can mean adding. So I'll say val B equals, so I want to take the set A and add 1 value to it. And similarly, I could say val C equals, I'll take B, and here I'll use plus plus because I want to add another sequence to this sequence. So I can even overlap elements. I'll say 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. And then you'll see the result there. Once again, the duplicate elements are removed. And so here the only thing you need to know is that if you want to add 1 element, use the plus symbol. And if you want to add 2, use plus plus. And again, this is with an immutable set. And just like you use plus and plus plus to add elements to a set, use minus and minus minus to remove elements. So I start with this example set, and then I'll say val B equals A, and then I'll just subtract 1 from there. So that removes 1 from the set. So you use minus when you're removing 1 value, and minus minus B minus minus when you're removing multiple elements. So I will say remove 2 and 3. So again, for this case, you just need to know that you use minus to remove 1 element and minus minus to remove another sequence of elements. And since I still have elements here, I can show that val d equals c minus minus, and then this could be a seq, for instance, over here. So you could say a sequence, and let's remove 5 and 6. And as I've shown with other sequences, delete can also mean filtering. So that makes me think of the filter method. So let me create val b equals a, and I want to filter so that I retain all values that are less than, let's say, 9, for example. So that's one way to filter a set into a smaller set of values as a way of deleting elements. Another one, I did mention this already, but we could say val c equals b, and I could take, the first 5 elements from there. And again, because the elements are not sorted, I have no idea what I'm going to get back. And similarly, I could say val d equals c dot drop the first 2 elements. So again, there are 148 possible methods that we could call, and I'm just showing a few of these that are commonly used.